Well, we got a situation here in New York City. We're trying to get Reverend Al Sharpton on our show.
Good luck.
He's a fan, actually.
What do you mean he's a fan?
I just felt like saying that.
Jeez. I said that like with a little hope in my eyes. Like, really?
Oh, he couldn't be. Really.
Someone of his ilk is listening to this radio program?
He enjoys this show. We're finished.
No kidding. But what was I going to say? Yeah, Reverend Al Sharpton is attempting to shut down New York City. I guess they had a little drill yesterday in Harlem or Saturday. What was it?
They had a march in Harlem.
But it looks like they're
shut down some traffic.
It looks like they're in like spring training because they're just practicing up there.
Yeah, Reverend Al has vowed to meticulously organize a protest here in New York City where he will shut down the entire city. That is what he's saying.
And they practiced yesterday, and they had people like holding arms like across intersections, stopping traffic, and taking over a few storefronts, I believe. I was quickly wrinkled, and now he wants to make it an even bigger deal. Wants to shut down Broadway, Times Square.
Yeah, because the verdict didn't go his way.
Right. I'm sure most of America knows what happened here in New York with
it's
the cops shooting Sean Bell hours before his wedding. As he was leaving a club for his
bachelor party. He's leaving a club. The cops that were undercover in there on some kind of narcotics operation heard some altercation between Bell and some other people. Bell was heard telling one of his friends, "Get my gun." That's when the cops followed them all outside. They got into the car, and as they were driving away, the cops pulled their guns, told them to stop. They didn't stop, drove into some of the officers who then opened fire on the car, killing Bell and injuring a lot of his buddies in the car. And the judge, because this wasn't a jury trial, the judge, after hearing all the evidence, determined the cops were justified in what they did. Sometimes it's not as clean cut where it's like, okay, he wasn't armed. His intent wasn't to kill the police officers, apparently. But if a police officer fears for his life and thinks his life is in jeopardy, he does have the right to defend himself. Mm-hmm. And that includes deadly physical force.
But does he have here's my question, because I don't think the cop should have went to jail, but I think it was definitely excessive. If he was armed, I wouldn't care if they pumped 200 bullets in him. But the fact is, it is when you I know that they said that the car kept going. But
and then you hear the other shots from the other officers. Mistakes were made.
They were terrible.
Obviously, mistakes were made. But you hear the shots from the other officers, and it's very hard to determine who's shooting at you at that point. You get into that frenzy where you unload your magazine into what you think is a car full of people that are shooting at you. It was a mistake, but again, there's laws that say that there is a justifiable shooting. Because when they feel they're being threatened, it's justified.
With Abner Louima, Diallo, I think, where they thought he was going for his wallet. They heard the echoes coming back. They thought the cop fell, and they thought it's like...
Yeah, because the cop slipped. He fell after the first shot. His buddies see a downed cop after hearing shots.
You got to assume he got shot.
You're going to start unloading. It's just, it's tragic. I'm not going to say it's not. But a judge listened to all the evidence and found that they were justified. Mistakes were made. That was even acknowledged. But, you can't start locking up cops for situations like that. When you get a situation where a cop is in a bathroom with a plunger abusing somebody that's been brought in, then of course, Jimmy, is it too early? Yeah, it's probably too early. But something like this, it's it's deemed justifiable.
I don't think they should go to jail. I'm not saying that. I don't think they set out to kill somebody. I don't think it was a criminal. But sometimes you got to lose your job. I mean, like it's not to that's. It's like when you do something when you make such a mistake on your job. Again, I don't think that they're bad guys, but when you do shoot a guy 50 times who didn't have a gun. It is kind of hard to explain, and sometimes you got to lose your gig.
I don't think they should lose their gig. I think, little more training. I don't know, maybe change some policies. I don't know. I don't have the answers, but I don't think they should lose their jobs. You know, you can't have, because a situation like this is very rare. A lot of people would say it happens all the time. It really doesn't, considering how many times police are put in this situation. But occasionally it happens. It's not like walking into a deli and saying, "Hey, I ordered mustard instead of mayo," and the guy goes, "Oh, I made a mistake, and I'll fix it."
And I'll put ketchup all over your shirt.
Oh my God! When cops make a mistake, unfortunately, in worst case scenario, some people and innocent people get killed. It's awful. Sure, it's awful for the cops, but again, I think these guys need a little bit of leeway, or else we're all going to be in trouble if these guys have to start second and third and fourth guessing themselves in a lot of these situations. You're going to find dead cops and dead civilians if they really have to start second guessing every move they make because there's this threat that they might go to jail.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The leeway they get, and I agree with you, they shouldn't go to jail. I don't think what they did was criminal. I don't think their intent was criminal.
Yeah.
But that said, just because I love cops and I side with cops, and I normally do, and it's like, even in this case, I do. I don't want to see them go to prison.
Right.
But that said, it doesn't mean that you can make such a mistake and not lose your job. It's like, you just can't allow them, like anybody in any gig, to make such a grave mistake and just be put on desk duty.
But on the outside, it's a grave mistake. When you look at it as police feeling threatened, the shots are being fired, there's a lot of confusion. I don't think you can look at it as a mistake that they're making, saying, screw it, I'm just going to unload my magazine into the car. You know, they obviously, because of the verdict, thought their lives were being threatened. They thought they were being shot at, and they were returning fire on the people that they thought were shooting at them. That is a mistake, but it's a justifiable mistake.
In the terms of prison, yes, I agree with you.
No, even as far as losing your job, it's a justifiable mistake. It's a tragic turn of events, but it's justifiable. In their mind, they thought they were being shot at.
It's easy for us to say because it's not one of, like, somebody we know dead. But if somebody I loved was dead...
Oh, I know, you'd want to. Well, if you take it personally, you'd want the guys in jail. You'd want them, dead. The family,
fired.
Wants them in jail. I mean, if you take it personally, of course. But if you just take it by, like the judge did, with the evidence, the testimony of both sides, and, that's what he deemed... And you'll never get the police department to start firing their guys based on this. It'll start a precedent that's just it won't stop.
Let's go to Bob. He's NYPD. Bob, what's going on?
How you doing?
Pretty good. What's
I want to make a comment on what you were talking about with the mistakes that they made and things like this. But the general public doesn't understand is the police department pressures all the cops. I mean, we heard about quotas and everything, but I mean, it's really a pressure system where these guys go out there and, they're aggressively, even on patrol, you're aggressively out there stopping people, asking people stuff, digging around and getting yourself involved in things where you get in these positions. And when you get in these positions, not even the police department supports you. These guys got families, these guys got pensions, these guys got children.
Yeah, they want to go home.
Well, yeah, obviously that's the biggest thing. They want to go home, but I'm saying, it's not like they're going out there actively saying, well, who are we going to shoot today?
Well, that's what, Bob, hold on. I agree with you, and that's why no one thinks that there should be criminal charge. No one's saying they should go to jail, because I think that you're right. They didn't go out there saying we're going to go out and do something screwed up.
Right, and I mean, like yesterday, we had something. I work in the Bronx, but we had, some kind of a call, two guys with a gun. I mean, we stopped these guys on the street, and we got 40 people standing in the bodega looking at us, and the cell phone cameras are coming out. And everything. I mean, you're getting put under a microscope every day, and they're making split-minute decisions why everyone else can review the tapes and take a look at, it's a very hard job. On top of that, the morale in New York City is completely, in the garbage can. We haven't had a contract in it's going on our 5th year. It'll be in August. we're not getting paid. I mean, how bad could it get for these poor guys? And now, this is what happens to you when you try to do your job or try to make the city safe for everyone, supposedly. You know what I mean? And these guys, we all know these guys have had extensive records for weapons charges, assaults. They've had incidents with the police. And they're all made out to be a nice little guy that went out for his bachelor party. I mean, why do you think the cops were in these clubs looking at these guys?
No one's saying... No, the guys are the guys are thugs. Like at least the one guy seemed to be. I don't know what Sean Bell, he had a record on. He might have. I don't know. But no one is saying anything good about the guys or even Sean Bell. But the thing is, you did see a guy get shot. 50. That's excessive, man. It's excessive, and we have to hold the cops to a different set of standards because this way we can back them when they're completely right. It's like I do back the cops when they're totally right. And again, if a guy had a pistol, I don't care if they pump 200 shots into him. Good. But if you don't have a gun, 1 or 2 shots is one thing. When you got a bunch of cops firing and not even knowing who's shooting, it's like, to me, they have a gun and they have our trust. They should at least have some system where they understand who's shooting when. As much as I know I can't do that job.
I understand what you're, but like Anthony said before, you hear it's at night. You got guys in different positions around his car or whatever, and you hear one shot. You have no idea who did that one shot.
And this isn't like a movie. You know how quickly all those shots were fired off? In a matter of seconds, it was over. It's not like you can take 3 shots and start assessing what's going on when you're hearing more shots. You just, it's bang, 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 bang,
They panicked.
Point at your target and fire. It's not panic. It's kind of policy. You try to end the threat.
Shoot to kill when even like to say that I think when a cop feels his life is justifiably threatened, like a real like that's like again if a guy reaches in pulls out a toy gun or he pulls out a wallet that looks like a gun, like they said Diallo pulled out a wallet. I can understand that. On a different level than a bunch of guys just firing into a car and no weapon being found. I mean, it's tough to explain how you thought a gun was being pointed at you when no weapon is
the lead
found.
up to that is the detective hearing, "Get my gun."
So why didn't they stop him before they got
from
to
the guys? They were watching him. They were seeing where he was going, what he's doing.
Why do you let a guy go get a gun? If that's the case, if a guy goes, "I'm going to get a gun," why do you allow him to go and get a gun?
Yeah, let's
stop him.
Let's go to Patrick in Ohio. Patrick.
Yeah, Anthony, why is it that every time something comes up with a black person, it's justifiable?
Well, it's a black cop too, sir. He's not being. One of the cops is black.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Anthony. I have a Mac 11. I have an AK-47. If a robber came into my house and I put 30 holes in him, I'd be in trouble, wouldn't I?
Well, you probably would be, but it's not like somebody else is shooting behind you or on the side of you, and you think.
Shooting? Where was the gun? Where was the gun? Where was the gun that Sean Bell had?
If you felt threatened after 10 shots and you could absolutely prove in court that you still felt your life was being threatened, then you would be able to shoot him another 10 times.
Now,
yeah, it's the truth. It's deadly physical force is all based on your assessment of the threat. If you honestly believe, and people and a jury or a judge believes that you felt your life was being threatened, you can use deadly physical force.
Anthony, what are the chances that somebody's going to find a cop what was using excessive force? Look at Rodney King. I'm sure, Anthony, you being as dark as me, and you consider yourself white, I'm sure you thought that was justifiable too.
What are you trying to pull some true romance crap on me here?
No, I'm just telling
the
you.
Moors.
Anthony, my mom's white, my dad's black, you're as dark as me, and it doesn't make any sense how you always bash black people. Doesn't make any sense.
I don't bash black people. See, because it's always turned into a racial incident.
No,
That's
Anthony,
what pisses me off.
Anthony, how many times do you ring that little bell? How many times do you ring that little bell, Anthony? Every time you have
Yeah. Well, that's the inappropriate bell.
Sir.
That's not just for black stuff.
It could just be too dirty.
Could be for the Jews.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. What is it?
Definitely for the Asians.
Time for?
What's that?
What's the 95% of the time, Anthony? I mean, Jimmy, you have sense. Opie has some sense. Anthony, I hope it's a character, because if it's not, I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, Jesus.
All right.
Well,
I
then
resent the fact that you think that Opie and I have sense.
then I don't know what to tell you.
Before I go,
Made me feel good today.
Yeah.
let me ask you this question.
Okay, sure.
All that stuff you say on the radio, would you go down to like Compton and say it without Kenny, or do you have to have Kenny with you every time?
I don't have Kenny. I have Keith.
Exactly.
No, I would not go to Compton. Why would I go to Compton?
Well, my point is, if you can't say something in front of people, then you shouldn't be saying it. So
I say it in front of a mic. That's my job.
Dude, he's saying it on the radio. It's not exactly hidden. You got to give Anthony this much. He's not saying it in a closet. He's living in one, but he's not saying it in one.
He's living in one.
Yes, sir.
Well, listen to you, Anthony.
All right. How many black people? A lot.
Do you think if you were on Hot 97, you'd be saying half that stuff?
Yeah, well, if I had a job on Hot 97, I'd be speaking my mind, and this is it. And, what do you want from me?
I think it would be exciting as hell to have the morning show at Hot 97. Oh, my gosh. You want conflict every morning. No one's turning that radio off.
Dude, I'm just stating what the judge found and the situation at hand and what I know about the law and the use of deadly physical force.
Okay, Anthony.
And you're turning it into a huge racial thing.
Okay, Anthony, I understand that. Here's
Yeah.
my point. You like guns. I love guns. Got 4 Glocks. Great. If somebody broke into my house.
Back to back, 10 paces.
And I unloaded 60 rounds from all my Glocks.
Yeah.
Would I be in trouble?
That's excessive.
And 50 shots isn't?
Not if you had 4 other people in your house shooting and didn't know if the perpetrator was one of the guys that were shooting.
All right, Anthony.
And if there was a car in your house chasing you around your kitchen, maybe there'd be a problem too.
Scuffing up your new linoleum.
All right. Let's thank you, Patrick. We got to hit a break here.
Wish I could sound less like Joan Rivers while I said this.
Hi.
Tara Reid.
Tara. Oh my God, guys.
Wild on Anthony. What was her show called?
Oh, I don't know.
What?
Sluts around the world.
All right. We got to get right back to the phones. Let's say hi to Dave in Jersey. Dave, what's up? You're on the Opie and Anthony show.
Hey, what's going on, boys?
Hey, man.
I'm a cop in Jersey, and you hear a lot of them. It's been all over the news saying this is excessive. And if you do a little bit of research, I'm a veteran also. You do a little bit of research, and you look up online in a wartime situation. Now, this is a wartime situation. I understand that, but it winds up being like something ridiculous, like 3,000 rounds to kill one person.
Mm-hmm.
Just the nature of combat. And you get what, I don't know, has anybody brought up sympathetic fire syndrome? Where you're shooting and you don't stop shooting until your buddy stops shooting. Your buddy doesn't stop shooting until he hears you stop shooting. And it can work as a chain. Like the one guy fired 30 rounds. He could have been in the middle of a magazine. His other buddy's still shooting. He goes, he's going to reload because his friend's still shooting. And it's a car.
Well, what finally stops them? The daylight comes, and or they have the shipment of when does it finally stop?
They're completely out of ammo.
They send an intern out for more rounds. I mean, how does this end? My God.
And he emptied 2 rounds, and so on,
and so on, and so on. All right, thank you, sir. We're going to try to get as many people on as possible. We got Chris in Freeport. Chris, what's up?
Hey, guys. Love you. Love the show.
Yeah, what's
Thank
up?
you, Chris.
Jimmy, I'm a police officer here in Shreveport. It's really frustrating, man, because you get the opportunity to Monday morning quarterback something that nobody saw. The Supreme Court's standard for police force is if another reasonable officer, based on the totality of the circumstances, would have done the same thing, then it's reasonable force.
Okay.
I'm telling you, if a guy that just told me that he's going to go get a gun goes out to his car and then drives his car at me, yeah, he's going to get shot a lot.
But
we had an officer shoot a guy in the head last night here in Shreveport, leaving a burglary when he aimed a car at him and just about closed him with the vehicle. And you're going to notice that almost every cop that calls is going to tell you the same thing.
I know. Let me ask you a question. That's one of the problems I have with it. With the car argument, I've heard different things about that. Because I was at first like, yeah, they should have shot because I heard he was using the car as a weapon. But maybe he was trying to I don't know what he was trying to do with the car. But when you say I'm going to get a gun, why don't you stop that guy? Why do you wait if you see a conflict?
Me? No. I'd stop him.
Dude, in this situation, this is why I'm saying this was so poorly handled. And you know what do we do Monday morning quarterback? We have to. That's how you assess what was done right and wrong.
Do you think you have a case against somebody when they say go get my gun, and then you stop him, and he doesn't have a gun, and he doesn't have this, and now you don't really have a right to search him because he just said, go get my gun.
That's absolutely, to me, that is absolutely a justifiable reason to search someone, and no court would say you couldn't. If a guy said, go get my gun, and then you stopped him, and other officers heard him say that, I don't think there's any court in the land that would give you a problem for that. And it's like, what are you going to do? If a guy says, I'm going to get a gun, what cop says, okay, go get the gun so I have a case? I mean, if you're flying by the seat of your pants and you're trying to survive, when a guy says, go get my gun, you stop everything right there. And I'm not a cop, but that's just, who lets a guy go get a gun? Doesn't make sense.
All right, we got a lot of NYPD checking in. I don't know. Mike, what's going on?
Hi, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Mike.
I'm a cop in the city. I understand exactly what you guys are saying, that it sounds excessive, but it's hard to judge, you know what I'm saying? And what you guys are saying is, why didn't you stop him as soon as he was in the middle of this club saying go get a gun? Because these guys, they were involved with undercover officers, which in that case makes your identity almost obsolete. And they were embedded in an investigation either into one thing or another, and to stop him in that club, that opens up the entire investigation. Now, that doesn't make it right to, let them go and grab a gun and, come back and start shooting the place up. But, what they did was they followed him outside to try and stop him outside. And, when you use a car as a weapon, which, we're trained in the city to use deadly physical force to save our lives, another life, or to save our lives or another life from serious physical injury, which could be caused by getting hit by a car.
Now, this is all contingent upon the fact, too, that they did identify themselves properly. I've heard they did, and I've heard they didn't. And the argument I've heard that was made, that was Sean Bell driving?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was the driver.
It's almost like somebody raised a pretty good point about why is a guy on the way to get married going to just say, I'm running a cop over? Like, it for no reason at all. You're having an argument with a couple guys, and all of a sudden you have real cops, and you go, I'm going to run them over and go get married.
That isn't even the point, though. That becomes secondary. The whole point in this thing is, did those cops feel like their life was being threatened to the point where they had to respond with deadly physical force? And everybody, the judge, the cops, all determined, yes, they did, and they were justified. But regardless of, they're not thinking in their head, hey, this guy has a bachelor party, he's driving. Why would he do this? They react. You just have to react quickly. I'm
only asking that because I'm saying, did they identify themselves properly? Like, did he know it was cops, or did he think that it was some kind of another problem? Like, what kind of, that's what. And to me, his headspace does mean something, because, was he trying to run cops over, or did they maybe not identify themselves right? And he's going, there's a problem here. I'm getting the hell out of here. So it does matter. And the whole thing was
as an afterthought, it matters, but in the moment, I don't think it matters. I think it does matter if they identify themselves. Yeah.
This is my question, and 90% of the time I think this stuff happens, the cops are justified. I really do. But the 10% of times they're not. And the police department has to take a certain line. And I hate playing the house liberal. Believe me, it makes me sick. But it's like, you never hear the cops come out and go, you know what? They screwed up. I can't remember when you hear that. So it's like, if 100% time they're right, how is anybody ever supposed to believe they're right? You understand what I'm saying? It's like, they never call themselves into question, at least publicly. So how, blacks are getting shot with, okay, you got the Allah, you got the... If I was black, that would kind of annoy me. I would probably go, well, when is the police department going to say it was unjustified force?
I've seen cases where they've gone to jail or lost their job. I think it's these cases that get the most publicity because there is such a gray area where we don't know how it's going to end up. The media jumps on it with the whole race angle. They love that. So I think these get the most publicity. But it's usually these type of situations which result in the cops being acquitted because it is this weird, justifiable situation that I don't think a lot of people understand the laws. I don't think that seems to be the problem. I don't think a lot of people understand that police officers can shoot unarmed people if they feel that they're armed, that their life or the life of their partners or citizens are in danger. They're allowed to use deadly physical force. It doesn't have to be an actual threat. A perceived threat against your life or the life of the people you're trying to protect is enough to justify the use of deadly physical force.
Legally, yes. That's why, again, we're in agreement. They should not go to jail. But to say that they shouldn't lose their job, I don't think that was part of the trial. So I don't think that was called into question. I don't. Maybe that's the.
Hey, they might lose their job. You know, I mean, who knows now? I'm sure the police department didn't want to admit to any guilt by firing them before the trial's over. That would look a little fishy. You know, that would kind of
I'm sure there's going to be
make a little bias.
More stuff that goes on.
Yeah,
as we move forward.
We'll see what happens. I'm sure they'll be looked at what they did, how they handled the situation, and realize that mistakes were made, and perhaps they will lose their job.
We got Sal from the NYPD. He's going to explain deadly force. Sal, what's up?
Hey, guys, I love the show. You guys are the best. But as a police officer, this is a tough time for us, and, we're just trying to get through it right now. Let me explain something to you. The penal law does say deadly physical force. A person does not have to have a gun. But it's such like a car. Now, I wasn't there, okay? And a lot of police officers will tell you we weren't there, so we don't know the situation, okay? But according to the NYPD, our restrictions, someone has to have basically a gun pointed to us and for us to use our gun, which is a little ridiculous since the penal law definition is a lot different than the NYPD definition. Now,
so let me ask you, can I ask you a question, not to interrupt you, but did they violate NYPD standards when they did what they did?
Well, technically, if you want to go by the NYPD, asinine rules, yeah, they did. But you know what? The situation, the tensions were high. You know, if someone said go get a gun and a car was backing up towards another police officer, I would have took a shot too. And my life comes first before anyone's life, and my fellow police officer's life comes first before But the thing is, right now this is turning into more of a racial issue when two of the police officers were black and one cop was Lebanese, and Al Sharpton is making this a black-white issue, and it's not.
Is he saying race, though? Is Sharpton saying race other than the victim being black? Because I think the fact that the cops weren't all white was why there weren't riots. To be honest with you, I think there would have been riots like in L.A., but the cops, even people who are pissed off know that it wasn't like quote-unquote racist cops.
But you know what? You know what makes me mad? They're putting these pictures of Sean Bell. They're portraying him like he's a saint. The guy has a criminal record. Okay, he's been arrested before. He's not a saint. And the Daily News puts pictures of like we're so bad people. We give our life and we're out there every day, and we got to try to diffuse situations. And one situation. When was the last time there was a shooting like this? Maybe like 10 years ago, 5 years ago. How about in the Seminole precinct, a police officer was shot about 3 years ago, Dylan Stewart, and he was shot by another black man. Where was Al Sharpton on that? He wasn't around for that. Why? Because he only gets involved when it benefits him.
Well, yeah, he's a bum.
Oh, yeah, we all know that at this point.
He's a piece of garbage. We all know that.
Do we have the Reverend Al song? We should play that.
Yeah, there's been plenty of cop funerals between these episodes. Believe me, you never hear anything out of Al Sharpton.
Let's go to Greg on Long Island. You're on the Opie and Anthony show. What's up, Greg?
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Jim, I just want to answer that one question that you asked. Why don't the cops just apologize for shooting them or whatever?
Wait, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like what you never seem to see it. Like you never seem to see them come out and go, yeah, that was very excessive. Like other cops. I'm not saying that the one guy did apologize.
I'm sure that they would love to, but they would open themselves up to a lawsuit.
That's true too.
In this country, you can't say I screwed up.
No, not them, bro. Not them. You're right. It is a litigious, awful, annoying society. But I'm talking about other cops in general. Like you never seem to see the other side come out and go, yeah, what those officers did was excessive, and while it wasn't criminal, they do have to lose their jobs. I think if you heard that occasionally, people would give them the benefit of the doubt a lot more.
I think this guy brings up a good point, though, because then those people get subpoenaed to repeat that in a civil case for money when they're being sued, the other officers being sued, and then you got to sit there on the stand and go, yes, I did say that he made a mistake and shouldn't have done that. So everyone keeps their mouth shut.
Okay, then cops can't get mad when everyone constantly questions every single case so harshly. If people are worried about a litigation when something like this happens of another cop, it's not even them. So you can't worry about having to be called to testify when something like this happens. Even if it's a cop at another precinct, it's not even you. They're going to call a cop at another precinct to testify. Well, you thought it was unjust. You're being called to testify.
I'm sure there are people out there, cops out there, that think it was unjustified, but they're not going to say anything.
We got to take another break. So, Reverend Al's meeting today.
Guns running when the cops get out of hand. Who thinks the mayor's in the Ku Klux Klan? Yelling and screaming as he's speaking to a mob. He wears expensive suits, but he doesn't have a job. Reverend Al, he's your pal. Reverend Al, well, he's saving all the people in his own community. Why is the white man always picking on me? He's got a fat belly and his hair's full of grease. We hear his battle cry. No justice, no peace. The man with a plan who you know you can trust. The party little reverend with an ass just like a bus. Reverend Al, he's your pal. Reverend Al, he looks like James Brown with too many calories. Now why is the white man always picking on me? Remember Bertie gets in the Brawley case. Turn on the TV, you would always see his face. He's speeding in his limo to another homicide to make the network news with the family by his side. Reverend Al, he's your pal. Reverend Al, on the never-ending search for some good publicity. Why is the white man always picking on me? Reverend Al, I'm Reverend Al. I'm Reverend Al. I'm hungry. Reverend Al, he will represent your family and he doesn't charge a fee. Now as long as the footage makes it on the TV. Reverend Al,